Okay, guys, in this video, we are going to look at several examples of solving equations with radicals. So first of all, I want you to follow the steps that I have listed here. So number one step is to isolate the radical so that the radical is by itself on one side of the equation and everything else is on the other side. Then you want to get rid of that radical. So if it's a square root, what operation would you use to get rid of the radical? That would be squaring. If it was a cube root, you would be raising it to the power 3. If it was a fourth root, you would be raising both sides to the power 4. So these are operations that will undo the radical. And so for us, we're going to square it. But first, you have to isolate it. Then after you raise it to squares or whatever it is, you need to solve for x. Once you get it solved, you would have to substitute each answer is, in case you have more than one, back into the original equation, and then if it works, then it's good. If it doesn't, that means it's what's called extraneous solution. All right, so let's take a look at the first equation. First, we're gonna find the radical and we're gonna try to isolate it, right? So I can see that the radical is right here. And it is not isolated because I also have -9 in there, right? So that means that I have to get rid of it. So how would I do that? I would add 4 to both sides. So in this blank, you're going to have to type something like this, square root of x plus 5. And I just took a screenshot. So it's not the actual Desmos activity, but just a screenshot of it, the page. So you would type square root of x plus 5, and when you add 9 to both sides, okay, so this should say 9. Okay, then it would be 4 plus 9, which is 13. Okay, so now that the radical is isolated, I need to get rid of it. So remember, to cancel it out, to get rid of it, you need to square both sides. So you're squaring the left side and also squaring the right side. So on the left side, the magic of squaring gets rid of the square root, and whatever there is left, that would be the x plus 5, right? And so let me just put parentheses just to make sure you understand that we are going to be working with that whole thing. And then on the other side, please don't leave it as just 13 because 13 is squared. So if you use a calculator, you would know that that's 169. And so then the last step is to go ahead and solve this for x. So in this blank, you would type x equals whatever 169 or minus 5. So then that would be what was 169 minus 5. So that would be 164, right? And so to check our solution, you need to just go ahead and plug in this number. So I'm going to use a different color, but blue. So this number 164 back into the original equation and see if it works, okay? So I will get 164 plus 5 under the root, subtract 9. Is that equal to 4? Yes or no? So 164 plus 5 is 169. And 169 square root is 13. You can check that on the calculator. So that's 4 equal 4. So that means this is correct. Okay, so I know I got it right. Okay, now let's take a look at the next example. So the next example, oops, I opened it using the wrong app. 1 second. Let me open it to this one so I can actually write on it. Okay, so here what we want to do is isolate the radical. And so the radical is on the left side. We can see it. It's right here. But there is also a 7 in front of it. So you need to get rid of it. So remember that the default operation is always multiplication. So to get rid of that 7, I would have to divide both sides by 7. So that'll cancel it over here. So I will wind up with square root of x equals, well, what is 28 divided by 7? That's a 4. Okay, so the next step, once the radical is by itself, as it is by itself, there's nothing else there on the left, just the radical. We're going to square both sides to get rid of it. So we're going to get x equals, so I'm squaring this side, squaring the other side. 4 squared is 16. Okay, so x is 16, so I really don't need to solve anything else, so that's why this is saying skip, okay? Now, when x equals 16, I need to check and see if it works. So I have to take the 16, right? Okay, so I have to take this right here. I don't know if you can see it and plug it into here. Okay, you can't really see it. Oh man, yeah, that was too dark. Okay, how about this blue color? Okay, so that and that. Okay, so let's go back to the original equation before you started messing with it. So you get square root of 16, right? X equals 4 squared, that's 16. Okay, so is that equal to no, it was 7 times square root, right? So 7 was there in the beginning. Okay, so I'm just kind of getting confused here when I was writing all of this stuff. This was my original one, right? So 7 square root of x, so x equals 16. Okay, so is that equal to 28? Yes or no? So let's see. Well, 7 times 4, that is 28. So check. Yes, that's correct. Okay, so we're going to solve a couple of more in the next video.